and now we're at 20. It's kind of like it's a little higher than what normally happens. By this time, I think the last few years we had no more than 10 or 12. So I'm happy that more of you are coming and enjoying this and it's serving you. Well, they keep coming, that's awesome. All right, so let's get started. Who wants to start? We're going to cover today 2 chapters that they're kind of a little bit talk about stuff that we already taught. Phones off, please. And then, so I just want to kind of like have a conversation and see what you take out of this. It talks about the subconscious mind, which we talked already about it. It just goes a little bit more in depth. And then the chapter that follows after that is
it's the brain.
The brain is
the sixth sense, right? What?
Yeah,
the transmission, the brain transmission.
I think you're right. The brain, actually.
The brain.
Oh, it's the brain.
It is the subconscious mind and the brain.
Yeah.
Or the broadcast.
And then we'll finish next Friday with the sixth sense. And the 6 goes to fear, right? Yeah, we're all on the same page?
Yeah.
All right, so the subconscious mind and the brain, we do it together because they're very correlated, right? I mean, the brain is basically a muscle that you're gonna develop and you're gonna train to do whatever it is that you want to do, and that's going to imprint in your subconscious. So when you go to sleep, your subconscious is working while your brain is sleeping, right? So who wants to talk a little bit about what they got out of the subconscious mind or the brain? We're not going to do it in order today. We're just going to do them all together because I have a cool video that I want to share with you guys at the end. So who wants to say anything about that? What do you understand about it? Anyone wants to say? Yeah? You still shy? What time is it?
So tired. I'll say something. When I was reading the chapter on the brain, it was really interesting to me because I've always said that, when you're around children, it's like they can feel the things that you're feeling, the things that you're thinking. It's happened to me so many times. I'm obsessed with getting rid of things in my house. I hate having clutter. And every time I think, I'm not a hoarder. Every time I think, I need to get rid of that. They haven't played with it in a while. Within 24 hours, they're playing with the thing they haven't looked at in a year because I'm sitting there thinking, like, that's going in the trash tomorrow. And it's like, it goes to them through my mind. And I've always said that and people think I'm nuts, but it does feel like, especially when people are younger, they're more susceptible to that kind of thing because their brain is not cluttered with so many other things. And babies can feel your stress and they can feel your calm and they can feel everything without you even saying anything. So it really spoke to me. It was a really interesting chapter.
Yeah, I think we touch a little bit about that. And I told you that children, the younger they are, they're more connected, right? They're more, because they have less clutter. They have less ideas and less beliefs, because it's all really beliefs that we have, right? From the moment that we go to kindergarten, we go to school, we go here, they teach us these beliefs, right? This is not going to happen because of this. If you do that, that's going to happen. And they start putting all this belief system in our brain that we need to undo now, right? There might be some good ones, but I can guarantee you that most of them are going to be beliefs that are not true, right? So what happens is when you have beliefs and you believe that something is going to be that way and you have that pre-existing notion in your mind that beliefs are there, you're going to get disappointed because your expectancy is going to be to that belief, right? And when that belief doesn't happen, then you get disappointed, and that's when you start having trouble. So if you change your beliefs, right, like you just change the belief system, right? If you grew up in a marriage and your dad cheated on your mom, and now you're dating all these guys and you feel that every guy cheats on their wives, that's a belief that you put in your brain because you grew up and you were conditioned to that, right? But if you change that belief by choice, and you don't choose to believe in that, and you replace it with something more positive, that you will find the person that's not gonna cheat on you or whatever it is, and this is just an example that just came to my mind, that by changing the belief, you're gonna be happier, number one. You're not gonna have fear that they're gonna do that to you. You're not gonna be insecure. So all those things come because of that belief that at a point in time got created because of the circumstances you grow up under, right? So like that, it can apply to everything, right? Like to, well, I'm not gonna do enough business because I don't know enough important people, or I'm not gonna sell that many houses because I'm not gonna do the high end because I don't know anyone that has a house that is worth more than $5 million. Whatever it is that your belief system is, so one of the things that I would recommend doing is making a list of the beliefs that you have, right? Like, what is it that you always think? Money doesn't grow on trees, all these little things that we grew up with that we just got accustomed to, and they're not true, right? They're only true if you acknowledge that they're true and you live your life by it. But if you change them, now all of a sudden, you make your own rules, right? And if you make your own rules, then you're not expecting certain things, if you, what's it called, the word? I can't find the word I want to say. It is expecting, right? If you're expecting something to be one way and that doesn't go that way, you get disappointed.
Assuming.
Yeah.
Yes, you can assume something, or
It's
more
what
like
your expectations are, in anything. It could be like,
Expectations,
oh,
that's what it
I expect my husband to get me a diamond, necklace or something like that, and then he doesn't, and then all of a sudden you're mad because he didn't know that's what you wanted, and you have this like expectation. So it can be part of so many aspects of your life that if you set all these expectations without actually speaking them out too, then you're constantly disappointed about things that are happening because it's different than desire, it's expectation. So it's a different feeling.
Exactly. And when you mentioned something about people, right? Because if you start to changing the way you see things, you start changing your beliefs, and you start changing, the majority of people have grew up with these certain beliefs, right? The school, it's just the way that life is gone, right? They all taught us all the same from kindergarten until we graduated that there's actually a really cool TED Talk that I love for you all to watch. If you go to YouTube and you put Blake Mallen, M-A-L-L-E-N, he's a friend of mine and a good client, and he did a TED Talk about 2 months ago, and that will explain what I'm trying to explain to you right now better. Blake Mallen, M-A-L-L-E-N. That's Blake's last name, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mallen? Yeah. So he did a TED Talk. You all familiar with what TED Talks are? Yeah, right? Yeah. So about shifting the script. And he talks about how we have the script, right? The script is you gotta study so you can be successful. You gotta do certain things to be that, and then when you are successful, you're gonna buy a house, and then when you have the house, you're gonna find the wife or the husband, and then you're gonna have kids, and then you're gonna be happy, right? But what if you change that script, right? What if you change it, and what if it doesn't have to go in that order? Why we always wanna go in the order that the world's changed? I mean, if you think about it, like, we've been doing the same things for hundreds of years. And everything in the world has changed except the way how we look at things and the way how we do certain things. The world's not the same anymore, right? So watch that, that's pretty cool. I'll let you watch that at your house. I don't want to crowd you with videos. I have another video here that we want to watch today that Justin's working on. Is it good? Not yet, but
Can you text it to me again?
sure.
Yeah.
You didn't get it, River?
No.
Sorry, guys. What's your cell? Cell phone's okay? All right, so what you need to do is really train your brain, right? And the best way to train your brain is by doing things repeatedly, right? It's by repetition that you will learn new things. By repetition is that you're gonna believe in new things. By repeating to yourself, and when I say that I've done things like driving my car and repeating things, or going on the treadmill at the gym and repeating things out loud, I'm not just saying that for saying, yes.
Is that what you meant by the subconscious mind? Because it tells you to speak out so you can hear it.
Right.
Because your brain, the subconscious is almost like, it has no filter. Anything is possible in the subconscious mind. It's the conscious mind that has a filter of
Right.
barriers. So it tells you to say it out loud so you can hear yourself when you're asleep, so that it trains your subconscious. So that subconsciously you're training it right there. Is that why it says it loud?
Yes, you gotta say it out loud because it goes in your ears, and what you've been hearing your entire life is different to what you're trying to train to hear.
Yeah.
So you need to almost catch up with everything that you've been hearing for many years, and just you need to repeat it to yourself and talking out loud so you can hear yourself saying it. Someone, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, I don't know if it was Mireya, someone recorded themselves saying it. Like if you don't want to say it because you're gonna think people are, if you don't want to go in the gym and be crazy like me and scream what your goal is or what you want to do, and people look at you weird, so then just record yourself and then just put your earpieces and hear it over and over and over again. Whatever it is that you want to start believing, or whatever it is that you want to start thinking about more, right? And by doing that, the more you hear, that's going to get imprinted in your subconscious mind, and then you not knowing, all of a sudden you're going to have a dream. Maybe we don't all remember dreams. Maybe a few will have it, but all of a sudden you're going to start basically rewiring the way you think. You're going to rewire your beliefs. You're going to rewire all those old, beliefs that are in the back of your mind, and then your subconscious mind is going to do the rest.
So there's this theory, and I don't know who came up with it, but that our DNA not only governs our physicality, but it also just governs our emotions, and that what your great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents thought and how their personalities were gets passed down through your DNA. So what you're kind of saying, and what I'm getting out of it is, it's really simple if you make a concerted effort to change how that belief is and how it's passed on to then your children. And I can see it for myself, and how that I have a daughter who absolutely doesn't know what the word no means, because everyone has always encouraged her whole life, and there's no reason she's not going to get this or get that or be the top at this and be the best at that, because that's how it is for her.
That's great.
And we always say, oh, it's great to be Jordan, but that's just, it's like she knows no different.
Right.
So you can, I think, rewire how you think and pass that on.
Of course you can. It's proven.
It's kind of cool.
It's proven. And if you want, again, I think I mentioned this to you, if you really want to understand how it works, you gotta read the book Becoming Supernatural. It really breaks it down how it works. It's a more intense book. It needs a lot of dedication and reading and reading it. Actually, I bought the audiobook, but it gets to a point where he's pointing out graphics and ways how it works. So I dropped and I had to buy the hard copy book because it's actually a visual book. You need to be looking at what he's talking about. And it really breaks it down how the brain works, right? It really talks about how you can heal yourself, how you can do so many things, because your mind is so powerful that you can reshape your DNA. By reshaping your DNA, you can get rid of stuff that you don't want, or beliefs that you don't like, that you just don't know why. I don't know why, but I do this. I don't know why, but I'm fearful about that. You can rewire all that and redo it again. So, great book, great read, but just if you're gonna read it, you need to be really, it's like almost like someone's gonna test you, because it's a complex book and it needs a lot of attention. It's not something that, normally, as you know, I do audiobooks and I'm working out and I'm doing my thing. This didn't work that way. This needed me to be sitting and looking at it, right? All right, so anyone else?
Well, the one thing that I got out of it in just reading the chapter about where it listed the positive emotions and the negative is, and I'd read it before because it's not the first time I've done the class, but what I found was an actual, the first list was the good things, love and romance,
I'll read them. You want me to read them?
What's that?
You want me to read them?
Sure.
All right. So, desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, and hope.
Yeah. So as I was reading those, as if you're going one by one, you're like, yeah, I see why this is a positive thing. And then when I got to the list of the negatives, it was actually interesting because as you're looking at them, for the first time I can remember, I had a visceral reaction to them. I'm like, yeah, that's terrible, that's terrible, that's terrible. And it was almost like as it builds inside of you, it's like something that, you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, and just without even thinking about it, just kind of looking through it quickly, I was surprised in how just glancing at the words, and you get a good idea of the subconscious of how that can kind of poison you.
Mm-hmm.
Just the thought of those things are how plants a seed of doubt.
Yeah, 100%. Well, so let's read them to see how we feel about it. Fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, anger. Not good. And that's why I said, look, it's just not about being positive, right? Oh yeah, you gotta feel it. You really gotta feel, not just say it, right? Because just saying it doesn't really mean anything. When you're doing the exercises or repeating yourself out loud, you do it hundreds of times because a lot of those times you're gonna just say it, which is fine. But if you believe in it and you put feeling into it and you put thoughts into it, that makes you feel how you want to feel. So as you're repeating the thing, you feel how you feel when you get there or what you want or whatever. It's a way more powerful and it speeds up the process tremendously. So when I say be positive, it's not just positive thinking, right? When I say you have friends that they're negative, we talked about this last week, get rid of them. You don't need that. And you don't want to be sitting at dinner with someone that's going to bring you down. I mean, yes, sometimes maybe you have a friend that's going to travel and you need to help, right? You need to be there for them, or a family member or something. But if there is someone in your life, we all have them, and we all have a lot of them, that all they do is talk about how bad it is, about the news, about talking shit about other people. You don't need that in your life. You need to not go out with those people. And you need to make a drastic decision of choose wisely who you want to be surrounded with, because proximity is power. And if you are surrounded by people that brings you up, they have alignment with your values, with your goals, or what you want to do, or how you want to change, or how you want to become somebody else, rewire yourself to have a better life, you need to get together with people that are mind-like, right? You need to hang out with the people that make you feel that way, that understand, that you can have a discussion about it without them being like, what a weirdo, right? So, so that's very important. Anybody can wish for riches, and most people do, but only a few know that a definite plan plus a burning desire for wealth are the only dependable means of accumulating wealth. Chapter in the beginning. If you don't have a burning desire, if you don't have a goal, or you don't know what you want, where are you going? Right? You don't know where you're going. It's like, you're lost, right? So first, you need to know what you want. You need to know what is that burning desire inside you. And the book talks about money, and we're doing this because we are in business and we're trying to, find ways how we can be more successful in real estate and everything, but it can apply to everything. I mean, if your burning desire is to go and save animals in Africa, that's awesome, right? So make that a goal. Make that a goal. How is that going to happen? How is it going to play? I'm going to go start by visiting once a year Africa and go to places that take care of animals and donating X percentage of my commissions. Whatever it is, right? And then maybe by doing that, something else will open up, right? So it can be anything, just no money. So I just don't want you to think that because the name of the book is Think and Grow Rich, we're only talking about that. Yes, it's an important part of this because we all want to make more money, right? Like Tony Robbins says, there's nothing wrong with being broke. It's just nicer to arrive to your problems in a limo than arriving in a bus, right? At least you arrive in style. All right, so we covered that. We covered the brain. Where is this one here? Okay, this is super interesting, and it kind of goes to what Sharon said in the beginning. What's telepathy? who wants to say what their understanding or what their knowledge is for what the word telepathy means? What do you get from it?
It's an able to move objects with your mind,
Okay?
using the power of the brain to do something.
Using your imagination.
Okay?
Anticipating something, predicting something,
Mm-hmm.
having an intuition,
Yes.
right? What, you know,
Yes.
like following what you feel instead of what you think. Sometimes it's hard because, like you said, you're programmed to think a certain way,
Mhm.
and sometimes you have to just kind of dive into that deeper emotion, follow that, and not be worried about following the feeling rather than the thought.
That's correct. So that's why the next chapter is the sixth sense, right? Which women have developed that more than men, right? There's a reason why, right? They go through a whole change in their bodies, they're connected with the baby. There's a lot of reasons why women is more, that has the sixth sense more developed, but we all have it. It's just we don't work, we don't develop that, we don't exercise it, right? But it's there, right? It's there, and it's like a muscle, right? If you train it and you pay attention to it, and you start believing on that, then you'll exercise it more, and it will become more natural, and you'll be able to anticipate things. You'll be able to feel things that your kids are feeling. You'll be able to feel the energy of people. Like when you are talking to people, when you go to an appointment, or you meet, or you're in the open house. If someone walks in my open house, I know the characters most of the time. Sometimes I'm wrong, but I know how to talk to them. I know who's coming. I know a lot of them just by looking at them, the way how they talk, and within the first 2 minutes, I can know whether they're buyers or they're not buyers, and they have money, they don't have money, they're nice people or they're not, like as much as I can, right? So I developed that. I developed that when there was waiting tables, right? You go on a table and you're like, hey, good evening, and it's a jerk there, right? And you just get to see so many times, and it's almost like a pattern, right? There are people, they just act the same way. Ask things the same way, act the same way, they don't say hi to you, they don't make eye contact. And there are people that are, polite, educated, they pay attention, they make eye contact, they give you attention for a second, they are more human. So you kind of like, by seeing so many times, you learn that there are different kinds of people and they all have different patterns, and you just understand better, right? So, because we're in the people's business, we're in the customer service business, it's super important that we develop that hunch, that sense of feeling for people, for everything. Like, if you're gonna enter in a contract with someone that you really know inside you that guy's gonna be a pain in the ass, think about it twice. I mean, just having another listing and dealing with someone that is gonna drag and your time and it's gonna make your life miserable, it might not be worth it, because that's gonna hold you and take your time from dealing with people that are actually enjoyable to work with, There might be someone that you're gonna meet next week that needs that attention, but you won't be able to give it to them because you're dealing with this guy, So, let's read this for a second. A month ago, we cited on this page some of the remarkable results achieved by a Professor Ryan and his associate Duke University. His associate in Duke University. From more than 100,000 tests to determine the exercise of telepathy and clairvoyance. You know what clairvoyance is, right? Yeah? No? These results were summarized in the first two articles in Harper's Magazine. In the second, which has now appeared, the author E.H. Wright attempts to summarize what has been learned or what it seems reasonable to infer regarding the exact nature of these extrasensory modes of perception. The actual existence of telepathy and clairvoyance now seem to some scientists enormously probable as a result of Ryan's experiments. Various percipients. What's percipients? That's a new word for me. Anyone knows? Percipients. Percipients. Is that a obsolete word?
Yeah, people that are outside perceiving what.
Okay. All right.
Perceive.
So various percipients were asked to name as many cards in the special pack as they could without looking at them and without other sensory access to them. About a score of men and women were discovered who could regularly name so many of the cards correctly that there was no one chance in many million of their having done their feats by luck or accident. So, how did they know? But how did they do them? These powers, assuming that they exist, do not seem to be sensory. There is no known organ for them. The experiments work just as well as the distances of several hundreds of miles as they did in the same room. Do you guys know that athletes, they run the race, and a lot of athletes, they get put these, sensors on their body, and they get them to visualize and close their eyes racing the actual race they're going to be racing in a month or in weeks from there. And it's proven that they actually activate the same muscles that they're going to use in the race just by sitting there and visualizing doing that. Right? You can Google it. It happens, right? So they close their eyes and they visualize running that race or doing whatever, and the same muscles activate at the same power. It's not like they activate just, like literally it's the same as the race. These facts also dispose in Mr. Wright's opinion of the attempt to explain telepathy or clairvoyance through any physical theory of radiation. All known forms of radiant energy decline inversely as the square of distance traversed. Telepathy and clairvoyance do not, but they do vary through physical cause of other mental powers. Contrary to widespread opinion, they do not improve when the percipient, the person that perceives things, is asleep or half asleep, but on the contrary, when he is most wide awake and alert. Ryan discovered that a narcotic will invariably lower a percipient score, while a stimulant will always send it higher. The most reliable performer apparently cannot make a good score unless he tries to do his best. One conclusion that Wright draws with some confidence in the telepathy and clairvoyance are really one and the same gift. That is the faculty that sees a card face down on a table seem to be exactly the same one that reads through residing only in another mind. There are several grounds for believing this. So far, for example, the two gifts have been found in every person who enjoys either of them. In everyone so far, the two have been of equal vigor, almost exactly. Screens, walls, distances have no effect at all on either. Wright advances from the conclusion to express what puts forward as more than mere hunch. So it is not a hunch, right? It's actually something that is there. It's not like your liver or your lungs or your brain, but we all have it. It's just we don't pay attention to it because, there's no education about it. And you don't go to school, and when you go into the organ systems and what your organs are, they don't say, and this is your sixth sense, and this is your, your telepathy and all that. This is just not the way how we are educated, right? So, and then it talks about how to join minds, teamwork, which we're doing right now. Anyone has to say something about that? Anyone that but that doesn't sound right? No? You all can agree? All right, let's see what exercise we have in this chapter. Page 103. Right, you all in there? So we read already the 7 major positive emotions and the 7 major negative emotions to be avoided. Right? It's okay that you read it and you're aware of it, but try to avoid them at all costs. And then there's an exercise over here that is basically going to help you change and rewire the way how you do things, and you wake up in the morning and you think certain things and you just do it by default, you just don't know it. So I encourage you to do these exercises. Today I choose to believe in create your new belief system. Just write it down. Starting now, I will do this, 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 and this. What I most desire is, hopefully you all know what you desire. I enthusiastically will do, I'm grateful for, that's an easy one. I mean, that's my favorite actually. Every morning I wake up and I go through a list of the things I'm grateful for. What a great way to start the day, right? It automatically puts you in a good mood. It automatically gets rid of it. You cannot be grateful and be fearful at the same time, right? You just can't. You're grateful for what you have. It's like you create a positive emotion and feel good about it, right? And I positively believe that I have a sixth sense. Okay, good one. Everything that which man creates begins in the form of a thought or impulse. Just always think about something, right? Like everything, like someone thought about putting hundreds of people in a metal cylinder and flying across the earth. That would seem like to be a little unreasonable at the time, right? Well, we all fly in planes today. So it comes with that impulse, a thought. Man can create nothing which he does not first conceive in thought, in their mind. So we all heard that whatever the mind can conceive, you can achieve, right? You cannot entirely control your subconscious mind, but you can voluntarily hand over to it any plan, desire, or purpose which you wish transform into concrete form. And that's basically what we're talking about. You won't control yourself. You cannot go and say, hey, subconscious mind, this is how it's going to be, but you can influence and start changing by doing the exercises. Most importantly, by doing it, right? Don't do it one time, do it for years. All right, the 12th step towards riches, the brain. This is a very interesting way to look at it, right? Look at your brain like it was a radio, right? If you have a radio, you need to tune in a certain station to hear something, right? It's like a TV. If you turn on the TV and you go in the news, the kind of messages that you're going to get in there and the kind of feelings you're going to get in there of hearing all those bad news, it should be called the bad news, not the news, right? It's all bad news. So that's what you're tuning into, right? If you tune in people that are negative and people that bring you down and all that, well, that's what you're basically asking to hear, right? You're tuning into that. So your brain is both broadcasting and receiving a station for the vibration of thought. So when you're hearing and receiving this ether in a fashion similar to that employed by the radio broadcasting principle, every human brain is capable of picking up vibrations of thought which are being released by other brains. Next. There's only one exercise for this one, which is really easy. And it talks about the mastermind group, which is this, right? We have a mastermind group. I mean, I don't know unless you guys have another one. I actually have an imaginary mastermind group that I use sometimes. I thought, what was it? I don't remember what book I read, but the author of this book suggested an interesting exercise that I actually practiced, and it was really cool. I used to go to the gym at night, and I used to, after I work out at 10 o'clock at night, always go in the dry sauna and just kind of like, relax and like, so I grabbed the information of this book that said, well, if you don't have people around you, sometimes you can find the people that think like you, sometimes they don't understand you, they don't have the same things, until you find it, how about you pick people that you would love to have in your group, right? So I chose Jesus, Bruce Lee, Tony Robbins, just people that I feel like, oh, it'd be cool to sit at a table and talk to these people, right? So that became a mastermind group, right? I know it sounds crazy, but I'm sharing. So every time I finish working out, I will go in the sauna and I'll sit down and close my eyes and I really think about, okay, so I'm thinking about this problem, I'm thinking about this. What do Bruce Lee would say? So, and you need to pick characters that you know what their personalities are, what their way of thinking, or what their beliefs are, right? Like know Bruce Lee since I was 6 because I did martial arts. So I read a book about Bruce Lee, I watch all the movies, so I know, which by the way was a genius. I don't know if any of you read or saw anything that the guy used to talk. He was so ahead of his time. It's super interesting. So you kind of get an idea of what he would say, right? I go to all the Tony Robbins events and everything, so if I was to tell Tony something, I know exactly what he probably will say to me, right? If I say this, blah, 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 he'll say, bullshit, that's not true, right? So I started to imagine what it will happen, and it was kind of like a fun exercise that I actually stopped doing it. But that's another option, like if you are feeling like you want to do something and you cannot get together 4 or 5 people to talk about it, well, just make it in your mind, right? It's really a fun exercise. So, and then there is this exercise in the workbook on page 109. It says, so that we can, by process of blending our minds into one, find the solution to a great variety of personal problems. So the reason why we get together and we all want to hear opinions from people that we respect, that we like, and we think alike is because by doing it together is more powerful than doing it alone. You get more ideas, you get different perspectives, you get someone that comes from outside without any emotional attachment, and you might not like what you say, but if you really think about it, it might be the truth, right? It's like, oh, maybe you should stop doing this, or maybe you should start doing that. And then you think about it, and because you respect that person, say, you know what, I'm gonna try, maybe he's right, maybe I'm just getting stuck in something that I shouldn't be doing. So that's why you do the mastering groups, okay? So that's with that. Anyone has any questions? No? Justin? Can you call Justin, please? Nice coming.
Keep it.
Okay.
Last time you mentioned the difference between like Kobe Bryant and Tiger Woods, and I thought that was.
For that example?
Yeah.
Have you guys read the book Relentless?
Yes.
No?
Yes,
You have?
you recommended it last year.
Yes. It's a great book. I actually just finished it for the second time.
Wow.
Tim Grover.
Yeah. So this book was written by Tim Grover. Tim Grover is the guy that basically trained Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. I mean, like the greatest, basketball players. And he wrote a book that you should all read. It's just very motivating. It's not bullshit. It's a little rough, okay, in some things. And don't. Again, every time you read a book or you come here or you go to a seminar or whatever, you just take what works for you. Doesn't mean you need to follow the whole thing 100%, right?
Do you have the audio version of it?
Yeah. It's great, right?
It's like, he's scary at first.
I know.
It's
So-
like a coach though.
He's a coach. He's a coach, and he's like, look, I mean, all these athletes, they have 95% of their strength above their neck. It's not about the physical strength, it's about what's here, right? So they come to my gym, and if they're bullshitting around, I'm gonna catch that, and you're tired, you're puking, great, you passed out on top of your puke, I'm not gonna go and massage you and pick you up. You wake up and you clean it up and then come back and join us again. So it's that kind of guy, right? So I'm giving you the heads up, it's a rough book, but a lot of times we need to hear that cut the bullshit kind of thing, So he gave an example about what happened to Tiger Woods and Kobe Bryant, right? When Tiger Woods, got caught that he was doing what he was doing, cheating on his wife with multiple women and all that kind of stuff, he basically got shut down. He apologized to everybody and then he just got shut down, and thank God now he's back. But for many years he just couldn't, right? He got shut down and it was taken from him. And not to justify what he did or anything, he's just talking about you cannot let the exterior factors affect your interior peace, And he did. On the other hand, Kobe Bryant got caught with something in Vegas with a girl or whatever, and he obviously apologized for whatever he did with his family that he needed to do. But through going through all that rough time of his life, probably, he could have dropped the basketball and whatever, and then that's when he was playing the best. So what he did is he developed this alter ego or personality that he called the Black Mamba. So he explains, have you seen Kobe's Muse? Yeah?
That's awesome.
So he explains it in there that he said, look, if he was to go and play a game tonight thinking about how bad he feels about what he did, or what he want to do with this, or all the things that came in his mind, he will never play and make it. But, and actually, and Dave Chappelle also makes a funny part about that. He's like, he says, he was playing for his life. Because if he would miss a shot, everybody would be like, that nigga's guilty. So basically, you know, the guy basically developed these things, and he said, when I went to play a game and I stepped on the court, I wasn't Kobe Bryant anymore. I was the Black Mamba, and he was a killer. He went in there and he freaking destroyed his opponent, and then he came back to be and deal with whatever he needs to deal. So a lot of times, I gave you an example when I got crashed into my brand new car, we need to choose to put things aside, to do what we need to do, and then go back to it, and don't be tormented by that, and that just you live your life like that, you know? There's things that we need to learn how to do. So,
I think that goes with everything you're saying, that energy, like bad friends, whatever, like applying, tricking your brain or training your brain to do what you need to do, because we are all affected by our environment and our families and everything, but you have to, you know, we could have woken up today, your kids through something, and you know, you put that aside, get to work, and my kids say I have no compassion, and I think I have a lot of compassion, but I was trained, like, played millions of sports my whole life, and I had coaches like that I hated, but they taught me, I think sports is really important for kids and for people, because you learn how to, my kids, when they cry, I have, okay, get up and go. That's great, keep going. Like, I have zero compassion for a little tear, because that's not a big deal. So, I mean, it is, but we'll deal with it later.
you're gonna like this video. You all come closer, because we're gonna play, it's gonna be in both TVs, right? Yeah, and then you turn it up, because some parts of the video are very low volume. So just crank it up.
Wow, that's laggy as hell.
All right, is it loud enough?
That's very good.
Huh?
Is it possible that you AirPlay it from your phone?
Yeah, probably.
Because that's coming from the laptop.
Okay,
It's
stop
super
it
laggy.
then. I'll try. Okay, so I'm here playing to conference room, or
Reception.
it's louder here than in there?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have reception. Oh, now I have it. It's saying that my wireless signal is too weak. How is that possible?
Is it?
I'm in a... He's giving me the real fast Wi-Fi that only he has. Great, that's a good idea to raise the video. Finally got it.
Line?
Hang on. Really? No way. Yeah. Total character.
I say that in space, so it's okay.
Oh, me too. He knows it.
He knows it. Everyone knows it. He has a reputation, I should say, I shouldn't spread rumors, but it's a reality.
Pause it just in case. Say that to me, please.
Tell you something you already know.
Pause it.
The world ain't all so.
You want me to rewind it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, guys, here it is. It's not too long. It's 3 minutes and 24 seconds. So you can give your 100% attention for that amount of time. If not, you're screwed. Let me turn on the lights.
All right, here we go.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft.
You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm going to get up? No.
You changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame. Like a big shadow. Listen to me, kid. It's about how hard it is. It's about how much you get it. Keep moving forward. How much you take and keep moving forward.
I'm motivated by
All of you chumps are gonna bow when I look in. All of you, I know you got it. I know you got it, Dick. But the man's in color. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
I think this fear is not that we are adequate. I think this fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
That's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that itch. And I know I'm not gonna be likely. It's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that itch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not point the finger saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
while the other guys sleeping. I'm working. While the other guys eating, I'm working.
Trust yourself. Raise some moves. Don't be afraid to fail. Do what the naysayers. Brooklyn Cal. You give something.
It's better when you can hear it. But you get that's it. You get the idea, right? It's you gotta just stick to it and keep going and don't blame. It's not because of anyone that you don't do something, or it's not because of something that happened to you that you cannot do it. It's in your hands. You are the only person that can get what you want and just keep going. So hope you enjoy it. We need bigger speakers.
Yeah, right.
Which ones are doing that? They weren't the main ones, right?
Those are on the TVs.
Yeah? There's no way how to play on the
Yeah,
big ones?
TVs aren't connected to it. That's the thing, yeah.
Okay.